Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the Krsnatarian way of cooking. I am Radhika Pyari Devi Dasi, and today I am going to share with you a wonderful cheesy pumpkin rice recipe. This recipe has become one of my favorites and I would like to share with you how to prepare it. Let's look into the recipe. So first I have taken this big pumpkin. From that I have taken only a quarter of the pumpkin and the rest I will use it to make pie. I've scraped off all the seeds of that quarter pumpkin and then put it in a pot of boiling water to boil for around 25 minutes until it gets soft. I also put around 1.5 cups of rice in a pot of boiling water along with some salt and olive oil. So just make sure to boil the rice and then lower the heat and cook it until the rice is nice and cooked. So here the pumpkin is nicely cooked. What I'm going to do is scrape the pulp out and put this in the bowl. Be careful of your fingers not to burn them, it's very hot. So the rice I have kept for around 20 minutes without the stove on, so it just cooks in its steam like this. It's not too sticky, nicely cooked, soft. Now here I have some tofu. Now I've taken fried tofu, like very simple fried tofu. This is actually a firm tofu. If you want, you can just take regular tofu. If you want to use paneer, you can use even that. I prefer to take tofu in this. So what I did was I washed this first nicely with cold water, and now I'm going to slice them and then cube cut them into small pieces. You can even make these fried tofus at home. You just have to get an extra firm tofu, then cube cut them in big chunks, and then deep fry them on medium heat until the outer part of the tofu turns brown like this and the inner part will be whitish like this. After chopping it, this pulp which we have, I'm going to add around 3 tablespoons of water and blend it into a smooth paste. Just want to make sure that the pumpkin pulp is very smooth. That's why the water is needed. Now here I have the wok heated on medium. Add around a quarter cup of oil. Now you can use sesame oil, you can use sunflower oil, not a problem. And then fry the tofu. You can do the same if you're using paneer. And nicely fry them on low heat for around 3 to 4 minutes. Now after this, I'm going to add a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Now a teaspoon of white pepper powder. Mix it well. Now you can even use Chinese 5-spice powder, that is optional if you want to do that. Here I have some boiled vegetables like peas, corns, beans and carrots. I've boiled them and then I have added them to this tofu. Now I'm going to add salt as per taste. This is like around 1.5 tablespoons I have used. The rice which I had cooked, I had soaked them first and then I had cooked it, so the quantity was a lot. Here the soya sauce I have added is around 3 tablespoons. You can use light soya sauce so that your rice color doesn't go too dark. Now I'm going to gradually add the rice. The benefit of adding the rice gradually is that your rice doesn't stick to one another too much and then your rice texture wouldn't be too sticky. So when you have enough sauce, enough oil, then you just add partly the rice and then stir it nicely so it's mixed with the oil. Like that you can add the next batch of the rice like that. So in 3 portions you can actually mix this rice well, coat it nicely with the soya sauce and the other spices and oil. Now once this cooking is done, like after adding the rice, you have to continuously stir this rice mixture for around like 5 minutes on low heat. Make sure the heat is not on high, otherwise your rice will stick to the base. This is actually an iron wok, that's why. So once this is done, then you turn off the stove and keep the rice to cool down just for around 5 minutes. Now I'm going to show you how to prepare the cheese sauce. Here in the skillet I have added some butter. The skillet got too hot, so I just reduced the heat. And now it is on low heat, and this was around quarter cup of butter. In this I added around 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Make sure that the heat is on extreme low. And now after adding the flour, just continuously stir it. Just nicely stir it, cook it. You have to make sure that the flour cooks easily and nicely gets sorted in this butter. Once that is done, then you have to add the cream. Now this cream I added around 1 cup, and then I added a little bit more cream. Just want to make sure that this cream which is added also gets cooked with the flour and the butter, and that's why the heat has to be on complete low. If you keep the heat too high, then this cream will burn. That's what we don't want. The texture and the flavor of it should not be tasting burnt. So you see a little bit of bubbles. That's when you add the cheese. Now you can add mozzarella cheese if you do not have cheddar cheese. And if you're adding mozzarella cheese, then you can add some coloring to it, because we are making like kind of a colorish cheese rice. Because I already have this cheddar cheese, so I do not need a color. This cheddar cheese is actually same like mozzarella, but the thing is the moisture is more, and also there is color from the annatto seeds. That's why they have this color. So nicely stir it. Make sure that the cheese is melted well. If you feel that your cheese consistency is too thick, then you can even add more cream to it. I used around 1 cup of cheddar cheese in it. Then I added this pumpkin paste. Make sure to mix it well. Now this pumpkin already has some water content. So if you want, you can add some more cheese or a little bit of cream. So I find it a little bit more cheese needs to be there. So that's why I added some more cheese to it. So first I used 1 cup of cheese, and then I used around half cup of cheese more. This sauce actually has such a creamy texture, and when it goes and spreads on the rice, what happens is that the cheese, after cooling down, it actually solidifies, and then still there is this softness because of the pumpkin pulp. So it gives such a beautiful texture to the cream on the top, and then the rice comes out. It's just wonderful experience together. Now in this mixture, you can even use some jalapeno. I'm going to use some chili flakes because I did not have some jalapeno peppers, so I'm just using chili flakes, which are very mild in flavor. And then I added even half teaspoon of salt. Now cheese already has salt, but if you want to add a little bit salt on top, not a problem. I'm going to spread it on top of this rice. Evenly spread it. Just have to make sure that the rice is nicely covered with this cheese mixture. Then after spreading it in this manner, I'm going to let it sit for around 5 minutes. And now I'm going to garnish it with some cilantro. I used around 1 cup of chopped cilantro. Generously use the cilantro, it will taste good. Now this pumpkin rice is ready to be served on a plate and to be offered at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So when you're scooping it out, make sure you have a nice broad spatula, and along with that you have another spatula to slide down the rice. This is how nice and cheesy with this pumpkin flavor this rice has turned out. Really a very good Asian rice recipe. Do try this recipe and let me know your experience. I'm going to place a tulsi leaf and do the rest. Thank you so much for watching. Hare Krishna.